What's up, weirdos? It's Thursday. I'm Christopher, and as always, I'm joined by...
I'm Mackenzie.
And I'm Sarah.
And this podcast is for weirdos.
Christopher, what are we talking about today?
We are talking about the Lake Iliamna Monster. Do y'all know anything about the lake, the location, the monster, anything?
I only know that it's in Alaska because we were calling it Chris's Alaska thing.
That is also all I know about this.
Perfect.
I know I've never heard
Actually,
of this.
because you were like, when we were coming with topics, you were like, oh, this Alaska thing. And Sarah and I went, uh-huh.
Sure.
We were that cat meme, the huh?
Huh.
So, I'm really excited to learn.
I know nothing.
I know actively nothing, which is odd. Like, there's not often a cryptid that I don't know, like, nothing about.
And this is a little wild because, like, I learned about this one for the first time as a child on TV.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's also not, like, to be rude, because there's plenty of things you
Oh,
know
yeah.
that we don't know. It's not often that we have a cryptid that, like, you know, but neither of us also know.
Right. Like, it's rare that any one of us has something that, like, only that person knows.
Right.
That's what I meant. Not
Yeah.
like clearly we're all very smart people. Clearly we all know a lot of things.
And we're into this topic, so it's like
it's
Right. There's normally crossover and, like, oh, I do know that. I have heard of that
Yeah.
at the
Right.
very least.
right. Never
and
heard of it.
Not one of that. Not any of that with this.
Crazy.
And I only know it's in Alaska because you were like, "Oh, I'm going to do that Alaska thing."
Because
we
you
were like,
couldn't
"What?"
remember the name of it when you were trying
Yeah,
to tell
because
us.
I
the
couldn't
topic.
remember the lake's name, but
Yeah.
it's Iliamna.
Iliamna.
Okay, so I'm going to tell you a little bit about the lake first. So I'm going to kind of structure this like how you did your Nessie episode.
Amazing.
We're going to talk about the lake. So it is the 7th largest lake in the United States.
Ooh,
it is
have
the
never heard of
24th
this.
largest lake in North America. It covers about 1,000 square miles.
It's a really fucking big lake.
Yeah, and so it is.
So
It is
7th largest lake. So after the 5 Great Lakes,
and then there's one more, and I don't know what that is.
Okay,
Right.
So it's like not as big as the Great Lakes, but like on par.
big.
It's big. It's a big lake.
That's crazy. Okay, continue.
And so really, it's a lake in name, but it's actually an inland sea. So the difference between a lake and an inland sea is, lakes typically connect to ocean water via rivers.
Right.
And it is connected to an ocean via it's a Russian named river, Kivachak River, and it drains into Bristol Bay.
Okay.
And Bristol Bay is probably at least something you've heard of, maybe?
Nope.
No.
Is it
I know jack shit about Alaska, man.
Canada?
Nope, it's still in Alaska. Bristol Bay is popular for belugas. There's a lot of belugas.
Do you want to know what I know about Alaska?
Nothing?
Diddly.
I know my brother went there on a cruise,
Yep.
and I know that Deadliest Catch comes out of Dutch Harbor.
Hell yeah, dude.
And also, I'm pretty sure my friend Jesse also works out of Dutch Harbor.
Hell yeah.
That's it.
This episode's for Jesse. I'm deciding.
I've watched The Proposal and Deadliest Catch.
Yeah. That's my exposure to Alaska.
Sick.
And also the animated television show The Great North.
And like Balto.
Okay, yeah. Like the Iditarod. and-
Yeah.
Welcome to everything I know about Alaska.
Lovely.
And then the Bush people and Sarah Palin. And that's all I've got.
Got
There you
it.
go.
Understood. Okay. I understand
Where we're at.
where we're at.
We're doing
The answer is
I understand the baseline.
bad.
nothing.
What are we? Idiots.
So what makes this an inland sea rather than just a really
lake.
big fucking lake is that it does have salt content in the lake.
Okay.
So
Salinity.
it has a low salinity,
Mm-hmm.
but it has salinity rather than fresh water that is
No salt.
essentially no salt.
Right.
Minimal salinity.
Minimal salinity. So it has enough salt to be like, well, that's not really fresh water, but it's not really salt water either. So it's an inland lake.
Yeah.
Um,
Inland sea.
Inland sea. Yeah,
You said
thank
lake.
you. Yeah, I did.
It's okay.
We forgive you.
But so it is 77 miles long and up to 22 miles wide. It goes to a depth of 988 feet at its deepest.
Pretty deep.
So it's pretty deep. Not
Not-
like the deepest in the world, and I don't think it's as deep as Loch Ness.
If you
right?
think I have those numbers in my brain, you're
I-
sorely mistaken.
Okay, I'm sorely mistaken then.
Yeah, no, I don't.
I-
I did not. Once I finished that episode, the number facts.
Control Alt Delete.
Yeah, gone.
I think I remember Loch Ness being deeper than
It was.
that.
It's a fairly deep lake because it's voluminous.
Yeah,
Voluminous.
it's voluminous. But it is in a super, super remote part of Alaska.
Population 2.
Yeah, pretty much. In order to get to the town of Iliamna, you have to get there either A, by boat, or B, by
Seaplane?
seaplane. Those are the two ways to get there.
Like
Yeah.
most places in Alaska.
And so, yeah, during the summer, you can get up the river using small boats, not deep boats. It's not a deep river. And so, the area around the lake has been inhabited for centuries because it's a big old lake. It's got good food. It's got water,
Fish.
fish. And so it's been an inhabited area for centuries. With it says on here, in my notes I have that Russian settlers are the earliest recorded people that we know of in the area, but likely indigenous folks were using the lake
Right.
as well because
Of course.
they've been there for way longer.
Right.
But so Russian fur traders were in the area in like the 1790s. And the lake was claimed by I'm going to fuck up the names of so many things in this episode because they're all Russian and like Inuit names. And I don't speak either one of those languages.
Do your best.
I will do my best.
And we all know you're trying to be respectful.
Exactly.
So that's all. That's what matters.
We all just listen to me butcher Navajo, so it's fine.
So the lake was claimed by the Dina people as their territory until first contact with Russians.
Okay.
So the earliest non-native name of the lake was Lake Shelikov after a Russian explorer, Gregory Shelikov.
Gregory.
And that was in 1802.
Okay.
In 1852, it was Big Iliamna Lake. It was spelled a little bit different. It had a Y in there. But Iliamna comes from the name of a mythical great blackfish supposed to inhabit the lake, which bites holes in the essentially the boats of bad natives. Like if you misbehave and you're out on the water,
Fuck around and find out, man.
fuck around and find out. It's gonna this big black fish is gonna bite a hole in your boat. You're gonna fucking die.
Nom nom nom.
Iliam nom nom
So Iliamna is derived also from Athabascan name Nilevina, which means island's lake. Yeah, and so that comes from a native language center in Alaska, the like translations and stuff. So it is in the southwestern part of Alaska, at the north end of the Alaskan Peninsula between Kvichak Bay and Cook Inlet, about 100 miles west of Seldovia, Alaska, which
is a place.
all niche places.
I'm
learning these are all niche places.
I'm
that-
like, wow.
I'm over here going, Anchorage? Nowhere near there.
Juneau.
north to Juneau. So if this is the big body of Alaska and it's got the little peninsula down here that touches Canada, and it's got the big old
Kick leg.
kick leg of islands, it's like here.
Okay.
So it's at the top of
Got
that
it.
kind of peninsula.
Got it.
Um,
I know what's going on.
yeah. And
I know geography.
I know the shape of Alaska.
Yeah, if you know the shape of Alaska, we can kind of locate where it is ish. And so it is a large lake,
Big lake.
remote location.
No one there.
There are
Hard to get to.
how many is that? Like 6 or 7 places. I'm not counting actively. That surround the lake. They include Iliamna, New Whalen, Kokanoke, got it. Pedro Bay, Pope Vanoy Landing, and this is another hard one. Ig-Ugig. And so these are all of the like villages, small towns that surround the lake. And the economy is based on those towns accessing another part of Alaska, like another small town called Pile Bay. And so there is a 1-lane gravel road that is called the Williamsport Pile Bay Road Portage. And it has 4 bridges. It is 15.5 miles long, and it is the main economy of the lake.
Amazing.
It saves a shit ton of time and fuel traveling between Iliamna and Pile Bay to do any sort of commerce. It cuts through like mountain ranges, but it is a 1-lane, not one way, both ways.
Single lane.
Single lane gravel road. But that's kind of the basis of information that
On the
we
lake.
need to
The
know.
lake and the communities.
On the lake and the communities. All of the communities have very deep like indigenous roots and indigenous culture, because of course it does.
Of course they do.
So the lake monster is known to most of the locals as Illy.
Cute.
Yeah.
I love that.
In the Inuit language, Tlingit, it's Gona Cadet, and in Aleutian, another native language of the area, it's Jig Iknak.
Okay.
Are the like 3 names for this creature that lives in the lake. But we're gonna stick with Illy because it is the easiest for me to say personally.
Correct.
So a quick description of what this monster looks like, what the reports generally are.
Is it a big black
Yes.
fish?
Kind of.
Okay. Because I was like, I mean, that's what the lore says.
That's what the lore says. So the monster is reported to be anywhere between 10 feet and 30 feet long,
Okay.
with a square-like head that is used for blunt force, for hitting things like small boats.
Yeah.
So the earliest sightings come from the Tlingit people, who tell of Gona Cadet. So it was a large water-dwelling animal with a head and tail similar to that of a wolf and a body like an orca.
Oh.
I don't like that.
It was depicted as a fish god, and was recorded in pictographs along the Alaskan and British Columbian coasts.
Neat.
So, like, it is not just like their story does not exist only in this lake,
Yeah.
but like in the whole region of that, like what we know as the Alaskan Peninsula down into British Columbia, where like Vancouver is.
Like where the Salish people are.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so other reports come from the Aleut people. A fish-like monster reported to travel in groups and attack canoes and kill warriors.
Oh, damn.
These creatures were feared and they were not hunted.
Right.
So they were a thing that it's like if you see them, you don't touch them. You leave them alone,
leave it alone.
in hopes that it's not coming
Not
for you.
that-
It's gonna
Touchy.
leave you alone.
Yeah.
Not touchy,
But
as Cusco would say.
as like Western, like capital W Western settlers came into the region, there became more and more interest in what this creature that is being talked about in the local communities is.
Yeah, listen, if I were to be joining that community and somebody's telling me there's a giant wolf-headed fish thing, I would also have questions.
Yeah.
Like in a loving way.
Yeah.
I'd
So
have questions.
pilots and fishermen began to wonder what the creatures were, and so pilots started flying their planes fairly low over the water, so that they could see into the water, see if they could find things. They were
Right.
like, I want to see this big crazy fish thing. And coming in towards the 50s, like the 1950s, there were pretty consistent reports of large, dull, aluminum-colored fish.
I don't like that either.
Yeah, it's really interesting.
Aluminum covered is not covered. Colored, I think, is what
Yeah,
I don't like.
like.
I mean, that makes me think of like amberjack. Like they're silver,
Yeah.
like that, but they wouldn't be described as dull.
right.
They're shiny.
Yeah, like they're large, metallic looking, but not shiny.
Yeah,
And that
Which is
seems
interesting.
icky.
that's
Like-
also not a sturgeon.
Right. Like it almost to me thinks of like, yeah, definitely not just. Well, sturgeon can have that like that dull color.
But they're not like they wouldn't be described as aluminum color. They're usually like brown.
They're brown, they're white, and they're like.
Are they also white? Okay.
Yeah, there's also like dark gray ones.
Oh, okay.
And the ones typically in this region are white and dark gray.
Okay, fine.
The like river
Get out of here
sturgeon
with your
are gonna be
logic.
more brown.
What?
River sturgeons, so like the kinds of sturgeons that you would find in places like Tennessee,
Uh-huh.
are gonna be more brown.
Okay.
But the ones up there in that area, because a lot of their like sediment
I just
is
know that a lot of the time people are like Lake Monster equals sturgeon.
right.
That is the answer usually.
That is a popular theory with this one, which is not a surprise.
No.
And so in 1979, the Anchorage Daily News, Alaska's primary news source, was offering $100,000 to anybody who could prove the fish's existence.
It's my favorite thing when
Yeah.
people are like, "I'll throw a bunch of money at this."
Yeah. I'll give you a shit ton of money if you can tell me that for sure it exists.
Yeah. Show me.
Show
that it
me.
exists. I'll give you so many
Yeah.
dollars.
No evidence has come to light that definitively proves one way or the other. That
No
this-
$100,000 for you.
Nope. I
No.
wonder if somebody were to actually like find really good evidence of something existing. That if the Anchorage like newspaper
Oh, like
would be
still
like
to this day would be like, here's your $100,000.
yeah, would like cough it up and be like, yeah, you did find
You did it,
something.
I guess.
You did it, I guess. So I have a timeline of sightings.
Hell yeah.
So in 1942, Babe Allsworth and Bill Hammersley were flying over the lake, traveling to Iliamna. So they were crossing over really deep water when he noticed unusual specks in the water near an island in the center of the lake. As they moved closer to them, they were able to see that they were big fish.
Right.
And so the pilot took the plane around to take a better look. Like did a little
loop?
little loop-de-doop.
Circled the airfield.
Yeah. And saw
Buzz the tower.
them as dull aluminum in color with heads that were broad and blunt. The width of their long tapered bodies was the same as that of their heads, and the vertical tails slowly waved side to side. And so very much like a fish or a shark.
Broad
as
and
side to
blunt
side.
makes me think of like a catfish.
Yeah,
Does,
Okay.
But
very much that shape. They started at about 1,000 feet above the lake, and they spiraled down to get to be about 300 feet.
Oh.
That's pretty close.
Yeah. And they estimated each of the creature's lengths were about 10 feet. But there were several dozen that they were like, these are bigger than 10 feet for sure. Because they were easily longer than the boat's pontoons. They were like longer than the boat's pontoons if they would have landed next to them.
You mean the plane's pontoons?
Yeah. And so they continued to circle until they disappeared into the water, into deeper water. But they did comment that they looked more like mini submarines than they did fish.
That's crazy.
Yeah. It couldn't have been a whale because of the tail movement.
Right.
And they never surfaced for air. So they never came up to the surface.
Okay.
And so that was 1942. 1947, Hammersley again had published a short piece on the fish in an attempt to get other people to be curious and go look. And Larry Rost, a U.S. Coast and Geodetic Survey pilot,
Hell yeah.
he came forward and was curious and was like, fuck it, I'll go look.
Right.
And so he flew over the lake at like 100 feet over the lake, so pretty damn close, and saw what he claimed to be a giant fish more than 20 feet long, the color of dull aluminum.
That's so weird.
Yeah. And so he started doing these flights in 1945, and so 2 years later in 1947 is when he finally saw one.
Out of curiosity, I'm guessing the water in this lake is like cold. Like
It's
very cold.
It's very
Okay.
cold, yeah.
Okay.
Because like this water is water that a lot of the time comes from mountains and comes in from
Right. I just know
like-
that the temperature of water heavily determines what fish species do well.
Yeah.
In 1963, a biologist reported seeing a 25 to 30 foot fish from overhead, and it did not come up for air. So it's not
It's not a whale.
It's not a whale. It's not a whale that's living in this inland sea that, like, I guess at some point, if the river had been deeper, could have wandered in there and is just fucking stuck in there.
Yeah.
Like a
But-
bull shark.
We would know
Right.
by now if there were marine mammals in this lake because,
Right.
like, it's a big fucking lake, but it's not that big.
Right.
It's not like a lake where it could have undiscovered. I mean, I guess it could, but
It could, but it's I don't know.
it's
I feel
people
like it's
are
unlikely.
on it like regularly. That's the thing. It's not.
Yeah.
It's remote but not untraveled.
Right.
Yeah.
So in 1967, Alaskan missionary Chuck Krapuchetz claims he saw the monster twice. Once he was flying over in a float plane and he saw a large animal in the water. He got on the radio and tried to call other people to like verify his claim, but nobody got there in time to see it. One of his friends went trolling for it, trying to catch it in a net in the area. He took a 5/16 stainless steel cable and put number 2 tuna hooks on it, which are big fucking hooks.
Yeah. Big cable, big hooks.
And baited them with caribou and tied it off to the struts of the float plane and drifted around on his plane trying to catch something.
The critter.
Whatever it be.
Whatever it be. The plane felt a big jerk and knocked him off of the floats he was standing on.
Is he okay?
Yeah, he was fine. The plane was towed off, and he barely made it to shore, but he was fine. He walked for miles while the plane was towed around the lake by whatever was attached to the plane. When he finally recovered his airplane, 3 of the cables were just gone. The hooks on one of them was straightened out as if it had never been a hook.
That's crazy.
And the hooks were like 8 or 9 inches. Like they were
Right.
They're big fucking hooks.
Those are
Hooks. But there have been reports that belugas have made it up into the lake before, but
It's still the wrong tail.
belugas aren't going to straighten out a tuna hook.
Belugas have
They also have
Yeah.
the wrong tail.
Yeah,
the side to side tail, not up down tail.
right.
No, belugas
No,
have
belugas
an
have up
tail.
down,
The critter
not
has
side to side.
tail.
The reports of the critter have side to side, like a fish or a reptile.
My brain flipped, not motion side to side, shape side
Shape
to
side
side.
Oh,
to side,
got it.
correct.
Got
Yes.
it.
My brain flipped what we meant.
Yep.
Side to side, up down.
You're fine. In 1977, a veteran pilot named Tim Laporte
Tim.
was flying over Pedro Bay, which is on the lake, spotted a 12 to 14 foot fish on the surface as it dove down, revealing a vertical tail. I don't know if that means a mammal tail where it's up and down vertical,
Up and down
or
for
vertical
locomotion, or vertical
exactly
like a
the
fish.
conversation that we were just having.
Yeah.
What kind
Which
of vertical?
which up down do you mean?
I think a vertical tail means the tail itself is physically
Physically
vertical, meaning
yeah.
that it is a side to side locomotion,
Like a shark,
like
or
a shark or a fish or anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Reptiles.
Yeah.
gators and crocs.
Yeah, like gators and crocs and monitors and side to side. But so he and his two passengers estimated the creature to be about 12 to 14 feet and either dark gray or dark brown skin. And so they're reporting skin and not scales.
I like that less.
Um,
Skin and not scale.
in 1987, a resident, Verna Hoilaha, reported seeing a large black fish with a white stripe down its fin. In 1988, several locals reported the same thing that they had seen from the water and the land. So, like, multiple people saw the same thing at the same time. A large black fish with a fin swimming near the surface.
So like a shark.
Yeah,
They're
so like a shark.
describing it like a shark.
Yeah, they're describing it like a shark.
Like seeing a shark fin.
In
It's a scary movie. There's a shark coming.
yes,
Dun-dun.
in 2017, Kakhonak village residents saw a creature a mile offshore of the lake that was estimated to be 50 to 60 feet in length. The animal blew like a whale and had several smaller ones following it.
The babies.
But I put under here, I was like, could have been belugas, could have been dolphins, could have been porpoises. The river's not deep enough for it to be anything else with a blowhole.
Right.
And maybe they misinterpreted how far away it was because maybe it wasn't quite a mile away. And
Yeah,
so
if it was
their
closer,
estimation,
the length would be shorter.
right. And so their estimation of 50 to 60 feet in length would be very different.
Right.
But of those three types of animals, belugas would be the longest of that batch. Depending on the kind of dolphin, maybe a dolphin. But like porpoises are pretty damn small.
Yeah, they're not very big.
But yeah, the river is not deep enough for anything else.
So like a whale, like an orca.
Right, not for like an orca or like a gray whale or anything like that. And in that one, they did not report any fins that they saw.
Okay.
And so that would put a point in like a baleen whale category of like, this could be a gray whale or a humpback whale, but like the river is not deep enough. Like in the summertime, they can get small boats up the river.
And that's
right.
it.
And that's it.
That's it.
Yeah.
They cannot
In the
get
summertime, meaning when it's not frozen.
yeah, when it's not frozen.
So it's shallow enough to freeze.
Yeah. So I mentioned that I learned about this creature on TV. I saw it on River Monsters, which was one of my favorite shows growing up.
That's why.
That
Where
tracks.
did you hear about this?
I watched River Monsters, but I wasn't that deep into it. It was like a casual watch for me.
I think it's currently like available on HBO if y'all wanted to watch.
I think it's also
the
on Discovery
episode.
Plus.
Oh yeah,
Because it was an Animal Planet
but
show.
so it's season 2, episode 4, and so now we're gonna go over some of the popular theories. River monsters settled on it's a lake sturgeon because it's a fish catching
Because
show.
that's the answer always.
It's an angling show. Like it's
Right.
it's a let's catch the big scary fish that is the core of what this lore is.
right, but I mean, like, even fucking Loch Ness, they're like, oh, it's a sturgeon.
It's a
We don't
sturgeon.
have sturgeon, but it's a sturgeon.
Right. And so harkening back to the like it knocks people out of their boats and like it punches holes through boats and like it eats boats. It can be attributed to sturgeons in that sometimes they get ultra like
Territorial.
excited, like not in a positive or negative way, but just like agitated and shoot up out of the water. And so like, yeah, that could absolutely, if a big enough sturgeon is flying out of the water, yeah, it'll knock somebody out of a boat. Sure. And yeah, they have big old bony spines on their side that could absolutely rip a hole through a boat if hit at the right angle. Sure. Believable. Yeah. I'm not.
I hate it.
Yeah, it's like I'm not married
Quit
to it.
fucking saying that lake monsters are goddamn sturgeon. Just
Do we-
let sturgeon be sturgeon. They're not lake monsters.
I'm gonna skip over this one because I think it's the most likely answer.
Okay.
Oh, so you're going to come back to it.
I'm gonna come back to it. I'm gonna come back to what I think the most likely answer to this is.
Okay.
Because
the end?
spoiler, I don't think it's a. I don't.
I
think
know
it's,
you don't.
I don't think it's an actual creature unless.
Oh.
Or like I don't think it's an actual
A supernatural.
flesh and blood.
Oh, great.
Weird
Great.
thing in the
Yeah.
lake.
Yeah.
Great. Love it. Okay.
So there's also a population of seals in this lake. It is.
I love a seal.
I'm terrified of seals.
It is they're harbor seals,
I'm terrified of them.
but they are actually genetically distinct from the like Pacific harbor seals.
Oh.
So they are Lake Iliamna harbor seals.
It's like the red wolves of
I was
Galveston.
about to say it's like Galveston coyotes.
Yeah. And so this is not a super popular theory. Like I could see it.
Right, but
I love a
seals-
genetically diverse seal. That's fun.
Yeah.
Right. They're similar in theory to like the actual freshwater seals that are like in
Yeah, but
Canada.
But like wrong tail.
Wrong tail. I mean, they do side to side, but they're not that big.
But they don't have a vertical tail.
No.
They
That's what I'm
they
saying.
they
That's
locomote
the wrong
this way.
tail.
They propel themselves this way, but their tails are still
Yeah.
Flat tails.
not vertical tail. And
Right.
it has been described as having a vertical tail, not
Right.
just this motion,
Mhm.
but uppy downy tail.
Uppy downy tail.
Not a seal.
Not a seal.
Right. Not a seal.
Debunked.
Seals are also too small.
Yeah, they're little.
Yeah,
They're
I was
little
like, they're what,
guys.
like 5, 6, 7 feet long?
Yeah. Like 7 feet max.
Yeah, that's what I'm like, they're going to
They're
max out.
intimidatingly large for me as a person, but
Yeah.
they're not that big.
Right. And like
In the grand scheme of creatures, they're not
not
that they're not very big.
they're not 10 to 30 feet long.
No.
Potentially 50,
Potentially 50.
according to that one report.
Yeah, that one report where everybody said that's fucking big out there.
It's so far away and so big.
I saw a couple of people on a forum go, "It's an eel," and I was like,
Which is the other lake monster thing.
"Yeah," and I was like,
Of it's an eel. You
What-
think it's
Which,
a lake
I
monster
mean-
eel?
"What fucking eel species gets that
I
fucking
mean,
big?"
I could understand it
People
besides
think
the
Nessie is an eel.
besides the size, because I cannot get past an eel being that big. I completely agree with you. But the shape of the head, the coloring, like I could understand to an extent where if you are of the folklore mindset, I just need to make this make sense for my brain. Giant eel.
Sure, but like eel heads, like typical like actual eel heads, are very triangular, like a broad triangle, but still triangle.
I
Yeah.
don't like eels.
Wolf eels that are actually fish and do come from that area, but they stay way smaller, like 3 feet max, do have that more square, blunt head, but they're a fish,
Not an eel.
not an eel, and they get to like 3 feet long.
But would a layman who's not a marine biologist know that it's not an eel?
No,
Okay, so they're gonna call that an
they're
eel.
gonna go, "That's an eel."
Right, so they're gonna be like, oh, it's that, but big for some reason.
Yeah, potentially.
Yeah.
And then, Same fucking idea as Nessie. There's a bunch of people that are like, it's a
dinosaur.
plesiosaur. It's a dinosaur.
It's a plesiosaur, which also like plesiosaur heads technically don't look like that. They're
No.
like
They're rounded.
like-
triangles.
They're rounded
ovals.
and they're on a snake neck.
Yeah.
And then body.
right. It's like head.
Yeah.
I should
with
go get my
4
giant
fins.
Nessie stuffed animal.
Oh, there's Nessie right there.
Yeah, you can't see her, but she's there.
Yeah, she's got 4 fins and a tail. Like, that's
Yeah.
not at all what's described.
And
people are
also
describing
wrong
a
tail.
fish.
And also
Right,
wrong tail.
because it's
Wrong
like
tail.
it's like a lizard tail, not like a fish tail. Like
Right.
people are describing a fish,
People are describing a fish.
but a big fish,
Like
and
a-
a weird fish,
a
An aggressively
fish-shaped
large
thing.
fish
aggressively large weird fish
that is not a mammal.
that is definitely colored like a UFO.
So
I hate it. Thank you.
I'm going to read you an exchange of people on the internet between 2015 is the original comment. The most recent comment is 2021.
Amazing.
Tell me.
And they're all on the Lake Iliamna Monsters like cryptid wiki page.
Dope.
Iconic.
Cryptid Hunter 25 in 2015 said Iliamna is quite a large lake. When there was the land bridge from Russia to Alaska, could a water-based dinosaur, I forgot what they're called, have traveled to Alaska and made its home in Lake Iliamna? 2 years later,
So 17.
Jay Cujo makes an unrelated comment.
Hell yeah.
Says penguins don't live in freshwater unless we're talking about ducks.
What?
So I don't know what that is
I love
about.
it. I love it. I love it though.
But because we, in fact, are not talking about ducks
Or penguins.
or penguins.
2018.
Wait, did he say penguins don't live in freshwater?
yeah.
Correct.
It's not.
Penguins
Right.
don't live in freshwater
Penguins
unless we're
also
talking
don't
about
live
ducks.
in the northern hemisphere.
Right.
My favorite bit is that apparently a penguin is a duck in this person's purview.
Yeah,
Unless we're talking about ducks.
right.
Yeah.
No
Episode
mention
title.
of puffins, which are often mistaken for
For
penguins.
penguins.
But not the same thing.
Not the same thing.
Okay.
Puffins fly
They do.
and live in the north.
True.
Okay. But the next comment is in 2018 from the cryptid Raptor Ackerman. Plesiosaurs would be a good explanation. Again in 2018, 2 days after the last comment,
Wait, what was the last comment again? Hit me with it again.
plesiosaurs would be a good explanation.
Okay.
2 days after that one, Aurora Borealis 1972 comments, there are no aquatic dinosaurs. I'm not going to ridicule for the mistake like the guys from Dinopedia do, but they are related to a group called plesiosaurs, though I'm sure you recognize the name. Also, while I believe some plesiosaurs may have survived the extinction, this is certainly a sturgeon.
It's not. It's not certainly a sturgeon. Nothing is certainly a sturgeon.
Except sturgeon.
Except sturgeon. And even that I'm not sure.
And then
Sarah's going to go beyond birds aren't real. Sturgeon aren't real.
Sturgeon aren't real.
Sturgeon are robots.
Sturgeon
It's
are
okay.
government drones.
fish aren't real.
Fish aren't real.
Uh,
Sturgeon are government drones.
You heard it here first.
2021, the Kaiju Gamer 03 comments at Aurora Borealis 1972. It isn't a sturgeon. The reason is that they aren't carnivorous. There's more evidence that it may be a shark of some kind. There's a video that shows a Pacific sleeper shark in or near Lake Iliamna.
The fuck is a Pacific sleeper shark?
We'll talk about it in just a second.
Okay.
And then
I love that theory because I do love a shark.
a month and 9 days after that comment, Hill BFH
Okay.
comments, where is said video? I live here and haven't heard anything about it.
Interesting.
Okay.
So, I have the video that Kaiju Gamer 3 was talking about
Of the shark.
of this shark.
Okay. Are we all going to come watch it?
Yeah, come watch it.
Okay.
So this is on the coast of Lake Iliamna.
Did they catch it?
Unsure.
Okay. Got itchy tummy.
Yeah. And so this shark is just rolling around up here on the beach.
Yeah, we'll link the
Yeah, we're gonna be
video.
linking the video.
Probably in the episode description.
Yeah. So this video came out 12 years ago.
This is odd shark behavior.
This is not normal.
Yeah, like
As a
this is,
shark enthusiast,
this is not normal shark behavior.
this is odd shark behavior.
Tail like a seal. Like it keeps flipping.
Right, and it
Yeah.
keeps pulling its head fully out of the water.
You know, I think it's because it somehow beached itself
And it's trying to get out of
and it's trying to
beaching.
get out of being beached.
Oh, and it's leaving.
Yeah.
Good for him. Bye, Sharky.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so there it goes. It's gone.
Yep.
Um
Ugh. I can definitely, I mean, like, I would definitely see a shark as being described as dull aluminum in color.
dull aluminum in color, large square nose,
Yeah. And
kind of
like,
the same shape all the way down the body until it's the tail.
right. And there are lots of sharks, like, I'm not lots, but we know of sharks that can survive in
Very cold
brackish
water.
and fresh water. And can transition from one to the other. Like bull sharks specifically are one that have been found as far north as like almost the headwaters of the fucking Mississippi.
Yeah.
Like,
Ask my brother. He's terrified of them. Specifically
no
of them
need.
ending up in swimming pools.
there's no need to be scared of sharkies. They're just little babies, little toothy babies. They're water puppies. Also, don't go touching them though. Like,
Yeah, don't
respect the wildlife.
respect the wildlife. If you're at a like place where they do shark interactions, it's kind of cool to touch a shark.
Yeah, sharks are fucking rad. I
Sharks
love sharks.
feel really cool, but they aren't shiny.
No,
I mean, that would be the like skin, not scales theory also.
right.
Yeah.
I will say, like, as a shark enthusiast, I hadn't thought about that because in my brain, lake,
Yeah.
right?
Lake,
but
no shark.
it's an inland. It's an inland.
It's an
sea.
inland sea. It does
It
have
has salt.
salinity.
So, like, because there are more sharks that can survive in brackish, meaning like, which is a mixture
Like
of salt and fresh.
partially salty water.
Yeah. So, like, entirely possible it could be a fucking shark.
Entirely possible. And so
Oh, I'm excited that there may be sharks in this lake.
well, that was a video of a shark in the
I
lake.
know that there is a shark in the lake, but that could also be a fluke, like the bull shark that was at the fucking
Oh, yeah, no.
headwaters of the Mississippi.
Could be a fluke.
Like, it doesn't necessarily mean that there's a population of sharks in this lake, but I think
For
it'd
sure.
be really cool if there was a population of sharks in this lake.
It absolutely could be a population of sharks in this lake. It also could be something like breeding grounds, or it could be
Yeah, like the mangroves in Florida.
It could be like a place that sharks
much
go at certain points in their lives.
Yeah.
Because Pacific sleeper sharks are not something, not a species that we know a ton about. They are similar to Greenland sharks. Do y'all know about Greenland sharks?
Yes.
No. Okay. What do you know about Greenland sharks?
So I know a lot of anecdotal information about. So I never, unlike Chris and Mackenzie, I never actually tried to get a marine biology degree.
I don't need to be called out like
No,
that.
no, no.
I didn't
No.
try very hard.
I'm just saying, like, both of you went there initially for that degree. I did not. I did at some point go, I'm going to double major and do a degree in marine biology so I can do a sharks degree. And
Yeah.
then I went, I have to take calculus, never fucking mind. And so I stopped that immediately.
Yeah.
But Greenland sharks are one of those things that I know anecdotally because, like, we've learned more about them recently because some have surfaced. They live, like, super deep under ice packs. There's a parasite that lives in their eyes and makes them blind. So they are some of the, like, oldest creatures, like, physically, not like, oh, they've been around. The concept of a Greenland shark has been around for a long time. No, like, individual Greenland sharks live an insane lifespan.
Famously up to 400 years.
Like,
that we
literally,
know
they live
of.
so goddamn long. And I also know that there are some people who should be put to death who recently murdered one. And it was, like, one of the old, like, when they did investigation about it, it was one of the oldest
Yeah.
in existence. And these fuckers killed it for no goddamn reason. Anyway, that's what I know about Greenland sharks. I love them. And they look really spooky because they kind of look moldy.
Yeah. So Pacific sleeper sharks look and are very, very, very similar to Greenland sharks.
Makes sense
We
in the
know
name.
more about Greenland sharks than we do Pacific sleeper sharks.
Neat.
You're gonna send Sarah down a fucking rabbit hole.
Guess what I'm
later.
researching tonight?
Good luck. Have fun. Tell me more tomorrow.
I will.
Do you see the goblin eyes happening?
So I'm about to tell you a bunch of things that came from a interview with Fox with a
shark guy.
shark lady,
Ooh, shark lady.
Beth Mata, who is a
Beth.
research fisheries biologist at Alaska Fisheries Science Center.
So cool.
And it was published. It was last updated in 2024. I think it was first published in 2021.
Okay.
So fairly recent.
Yeah.
And it was about the Lake Iliamna Monster, but it focused on this theory of sharks.
Amazing.
And so they were talking to this shark researcher. And one, I have a question for you.
No.
Okay.
Shark enthusiast,
Not Mackenzie.
how long are great whites? What's the maximum length that we found a great white and reliably measured it?
They're not that fucking big, right?
No,
Or are they?
They're not as big as you think they are.
They're like 12 feet.
They're bigger than that.
Okay, like
17.
is it 20? Is it more than 20?
21 feet is the
Okay.
largest great white shark that we have reliably
Right,
measured.
they're not that fucking big.
They're
big,
They're
but
big,
they're not as big as you think they
right?
are.
And they're big, chunky.
Yeah, they're
animals.
round.
They're very
robust.
round. They're beefy,
Yeah.
but they're not as big as you think they are.
No.
They're not 30 feet long.
No.
21 is the biggest.
That we've measured.
Yeah. Pacific sleeper sharks. We have caught. There was an immature female that was found to be about 35 years old.
Okay.
She was 35 years old
And
and
not mature.
Older
not
than me.
sexually mature.
Older than me.
Yeah, older than you, not sexually mature.
A shark older than me. Can't have baby shark.
Baby shark still.
Baby. Great.
Perfect. And so that one in Mata's words, it indicates not only extreme longevity but delayed maturity. And so these animals live for a very long time and mature extremely slowly.
Right.
Which means they could inherently grow to be 30 to 50 feet long.
How big was this shark?
I don't have a length for that one.
Okay. But also it makes sense that like if the lake you're going to say this and I know you're going to say it, but my brain is there. The lake could be a hatchery. Like the lake could be a nursery for these
absolutely.
baby like youth sharks, and then when they get to maturity, river
Yeah.
freezes, they leave.
Yeah.
Great.
That's my theory. Nobody's said that.
Yeah.
But,
But
like-
we know in shark populations that is a thing. There are like nurseries.
Yeah, there are
For baby
nurseries, there
sharks.
are hatcheries, there
Yeah.
are like this
In the
is-
wild, those things exist for
Yeah.
sharks. Like literally the mangroves in Florida are is it bull shark? I don't actually remember what
All
species
sorts of
shark it is,
sharks.
But like there's a specific one that like every year they go there and
Isn't
that's
it
their
tiger?
shark nursery. I don't remember. It's one of the ones that people are like, they're evil. They're just fucking
I think
sharks.
it's bull sharks.
But they like that's their hatchery. That's where their nursery is because there's a bunch of little fish that the babies can like.
yeah.
Anyway,
And so it's speculated that adult females could be anywhere from 12 to 14 feet in length on average, and their maximum could be more than 23 feet.
Okay.
Based on their the growth that has
The
been
rate
like
that we can
yeah,
see.
the rate
the
that
little
we see,
tiny bit of information that we have.
right. Their maximum length could be more than 23 feet.
So longer than great whites.
Longer than the longest great white that we have recorded, which fits very nicely in our 10 to 20 foot
Critter.
range that people generally think this creature is.
It's got an up and down.
And it's got
it's got
and it
up
would
and
have
down,
the
it's
strength and
dull.
jaw to
Yeah,
fight
sharks
for a
straighten
boat.
out tuna hooks all the fucking time.
Yeah.
I can't believe I didn't fucking think of because I'm always like, it's the monster.
It's the monster.
But sharks they're misunderstood, just like cryptids.
Yeah.
That's why I love them.
And so it seems that these sharks grow slower than Greenland sharks do.
Ooh.
And so the fact that we have found some as large as we have in the 12 to 14 foot range means that they probably grow older and bigger than Greenland sharks.
Crazy.
Truly
And
immortal
so,
beings.
just like Greenland sharks, adults live out in the Pacific, deep in cold water,
is
like
why they're
there is
called
in this lake.
Pacific
sharks.
sleeper
Sleeper
sharks.
sharks.
I'm
Mhm.
Team Shark.
And like it also
You've convinced me.
it also like
It clearly didn't take
supports
much,
this
yeah.
claim of blackfish.
Right.
Yes.
I was
like, that-
I would literally was thinking about after we watched this video. I was like, that's a fucking shark. And then I was like, blackfish that punch holes in boats.
Yeah.
Like if it's a canoe,
Shark.
shark easily.
Yeah.
Like we have evidence of like tiger sharks ramming boats because they're pissed off at them. Bull sharks are super territorial. They'll run into boats and stuff. Like it happens. Especially like there are sharks that we've documented breaching. Like they have their ambush predators that go from really fucking deep to out of the goddamn water to catch seals. Like
Which, if it's breaching
And-
a certain way, could look like a blow from a blowhole.
Yeah.
yep,
If they're doing like a partial breach,
And there are seals in this lake,
yep.
which would have the blowhole.
Well, which would be the thing that
which
they
would be the
eat,
thing that
They
they're
would eat.
ambush
prey.
eating.
Look, Chris and his need to have things that eat the things. I get it.
Like
We're checking the
there's
boxes.
a food chain
Right.
here.
It's not a what is this plesiosaur eating? It's this dinosaur, this shark. I mean,
This growing shark
Is
is
eating
eating
seals.
seals.
And whatever other things are in the lake.
Yeah, because there's fish, there's smaller fish, there's bigger fish, there's sturgeon. I found an article that was saying that sleeper sharks and the emergence of seeing more of them makes them almost harbingers of climate change.
doom.
Because we are seeing more of them as the Arctic is becoming warmer. Maybe we're just seeing an increase of them looking for more habitats to exist in. And so just like seals and polar bears are moving to more warmer areas where there's more food and more people, we're seeing them more.
Right.
And we're seeing them in worse condition. And so similar things seem to be happening with Greenland sharks. And we're seeing diets of Greenland sharks change to include larger prey like seals. A Greenland shark captured in the North Sea, they found the jawbone of a young polar bear inside of its stomach.
Oh my God.
Harbor seals have been reported in the stomachs of Pacific sleeper sharks. Every marine species in the Arctic has been found in the stomach of a sleeper shark.
I think these are my new favorite shark.
They're pretty fucking cool.
Sorry, black tip reef sharks, you're out.
Um,
Pacific sleepers are in. I'm
The
gonna, get a,
rabbit hole, I can feel it coming.
I'm gonna get a Pacific sleeper shark fucking tattoo.
Hell yeah,
That you're gonna be
dude.
like, I'm gonna have my mom make me a plushie.
That too.
Um,
Mom, make me a shark.
Mom, please.
Mom, please.
Are you done for alligator?
But Greenland sharks have been caught in large numbers in eastern Canada and western Greenland. So that's the other side
Yeah,
of
the
the
other side of
country.
the country. In
And
the Atlantic.
yeah. And one person estimated about 50,000 individual sharks were caught per year in the Baffin Bay region in the 1940s.
That's crazy.
So like 80 years ago,
Yeah.
they were pulling up a significant number of these sharks.
The Greenland sharks or the Pacific
The
sleeper
Greenlands.
sharks? Okay.
And so what's happening on one side is likely
Likely
also
happening
happening
on
on
the
the
other,
other,
yeah.
whether or not we have
Record of it.
record of it, because they are very similar sharks in similar areas.
Right.
This researcher said, one precaution: do not underestimate the predatory nature of these sharks.
They're sharks.
They are sharks. They are predators. They are highly skilled predators.
They will eat you.
Regardless of how slow they move and how slow they grow, they do still eat. And so
That hit.
yeah. So
Me
like
too.
they like even though they're described as like sluggish and distinctly unpredatory like over the years, it's mostly based on when they're brought up in a trawl.
Right.
It's
Like they eating and they growing.
they're eating and they're growing.
They
If
eating.
they're getting that big, they're fucking eating something.
A lot of something.
Right. And so even if they have a very efficient like body that's like very efficiently using these nutrients to grow very large per meal, they're still growing. And so
These are fascinating. Oh my god.
The International Pacific Halibut Commission research charter caught one sleeper shark that had 6 whole adult chum salmon in its stomach. And each one was more than 4 pounds of meat per fish. And they were so fresh and brightly colored that they could have just been cooked. Like, they could have just been eaten. And so that was 6 full-size salmon, 4 pounds each in the stomach of the shark.
That's a hungry boy.
24
and so,
pounds
like,
of
they're
salmon.
eating. But they could be the culprit or Pacific sleeper sharks could be the monster in Lake Iliamna. It could also be Nessie. Greenland sharks could be Nessie for the same reasons.
Well, I don't... Because of the way Nessie is described, I don't think that a shark could be Nessie.
Okay.
Because she does have
the like neck that comes up out
like
of the water.
that shape. I'm 100% on board with this because everyone's like, it's a fish. It's a weird fish.
It's a weird fish. No, that's a fucking shark.
It's a fish. Yeah, sharks. They're weird fish. But
They
like,
are weird fish.
Because Nessie's always described as like having this like serpentine neck
Yeah.
and like flippers and being not in the water sometimes.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like, a little
But-
bit different.
Yeah. What do y'all think? Let's wrap up.
Shark.
Shark.
I'm also team shark.
I'm on team indigenous folklore.
Shark.
Describing a shark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That got blown out of proportion. Not blown out of proportion, but like when Westerners came in, they were like, "What the fuck are you talking about?"
Did not modernize with cultural
Because
change.
also like literally, oh my god, I'm fucking losing it. The head of a wolf,
Is it a sharp teeth?
sharp teeth in a shark mouth,
Yep.
and head and tail of a wolf. If it's like a thresher shark tail, like if it's like a
So their tail is much more resembling of like a nurse shark tail.
okay, but that means that it's got like one section of it that is
Yeah, there's
longer
a
than the
longer
other.
section and like
And
a
a shorter section.
shorter
And if you're
gonna
only
look like
seeing
a wolf,
if you're only seeing the top,
top
section,
part,
it's gonna look like the tail
you're
of a
gonna
wolf.
be like, oh, that's a wolf tail, and
Yeah.
orca body, shark body,
yeah, and it's
head of a
black.
wolf, head of a wolf, big old chomper teeths.
Yep.
Shark. I'm putting a stamp on the screen
Shark.
that says shark. Is my opinion. I'm not saying
Debunked.
You don't
Shark.
you don't have to agree with me, but I do think it's like indigenous folklore describing a shark. Westerners going, "What the fuck are you talking about? It's a monster." Seeing a shark, having never seen a shark before in the water, going, "What the fuck is
the
that?"
fuck?
or a shark that does not meet what they're used to seeing
Yeah,
as
like
a
what
shark.
they think of as a shark.
Right. Because like they're very nurse shark shaped.
They're also darker than I would expect.
A shark to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause
They're
they're
like
very-
usually a lighter gray color.
very very oil slick, dark.
These are very dark, black, brown.
There will
color.
be pictures.
There will
and
be
also
pictures.
a video.
Yeah.
But oh my god, yeah, like this is like dark.
Yeah.
I loved this. Thank you for this.
God bless.
I love learning a whole new thing. Like I learned a completely new thing, a lot of completely new things in this topic. Go, Chris.
Everything in this was new, and also sharks were involved. Did you know that I love sharks this much? Did you know this about me?
I did not know that you love sharks this much,
Look
but
at-
I'm glad we're on the same page.
I have a sticker on my big water bottle that says "Crazy Shark Lady." Like,
I did know that. I have
love
seen that
sharks.
sticker. No, I love sharks, and so as soon as I like read the theory about like it being a shark, I was like,
you were like, I was doing this
Fuck
anyway,
yeah.
but now I'm excited.
yeah. Now I'm like way excited.
Yeah, I'm also solidly
It's a shark.
team shark.
Yeah.
Go
I
team.
don't think this is one where you could be like, it's something else. No, I think River Monsters just did not do a good job
It's
doing
not a sturgeon.
deep
Yeah, it's
research.
not a
Quit
sturgeon.
saying it's a
and
sturgeon.
They like there was not going to be a way that they could have reliably caught a sleeper shark.
Right.
It's a
Anywhere.
988 foot fucking deep lake. It's not gonna happen.
Right. And so like being able to be like
If
it's
it'll
a sturgeon
if it'll
and
drag
catching a sturgeon.
fucking airplane around It doesn't care about your
Shark
fucking
behavior.
fishing pole.
Honestly, shark behavior.
Yeah, it is shark
I
behavior.
cannot believe that not once did my brain that knows so much go, wait, this is acting a lot like sharks do.
Because
Sharks.
we have to separate ourselves from we want it to be paranormal so bad.
Right, but also my brain kept going, lake.
Yeah.
Lake.
Not
Lake.
inland sea.
Not this is a salty body of water
Yeah.
that sharks can live in. Oh my
okay.
God.
I think that's all we need to know about the Lake Iliamna Monster.
She's a shark.
She's a shark. Illy's a shark, ladies and gents and folks of all ages.
Of all ages.
Unfortunately, I do know that there are a couple children that listen to this.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Go to bed. It's probably up. You're probably up too late. Go to bed, kids. Anyways, we'll see y'all next week for, I don't know, something new.
Oh my God.
Thanks for listening.
This podcast is for weirdos.
Are you a weirdo?
Thursdays are for the phenomena.